Of all the monuments that makes up the character of a skyline, there are a few as recognizable as the St. Louis Arch. You really have no idea how big the arch is before you're leaning up against it. When you see it, there is no question where you are. But once you got to know the city a little better, there are other kinds of monuments. Indicators, if you know where to look, that gives away your location on the map just as accurately as any GPS marker. And some of them you can only taste right here in St. Louis. That's where we're gonna explore, the iconic foods of St. Louis. As a chef, I need to stay curious in order to evolve. For me, that means looking beyond a good meal to learn more about who made it and what inspires them to cook.
La comida es amor.
Every great city has great food. I'm going on a journey around the world, right here in St. Louis. I'm on a quest to find passionate chefs who cooks from the heart.
It's exciting.
And I think it's the best.
To prove that food is love.
And it's gonna be delicious.
Food is love. Love your food. When it comes to be the birthplace of new foods, St. Louis got the bag, so to speak. For whatever reasons, the right chemistry of factors has come together here more than once to create a handful of unique foods that are synonymous to the city. Since some of these food origins has sparked rivalries between establishments, claiming to have the best or be the first, I want to preface our adventure by saying I'm not here to determine who was first and who's the best. I'm simply here to try food for myself and find inspiration along the way. As a way of remaining impartial, I have asked food blogger BradenSTL to take me on a mini tour of some of his favorite iconic St. Louis foods. Braden is a St. Louisan and a food influencer. He has created a following for himself by posting the food he eats around the city. Lucky for me, this journey has its origins in the Italian neighborhood, The Hill. Our first stop of the day is Mama's on the Hill, a self-proclaimed home of the St. Louis classic, the toasted ravioli.
These are the original toasted ravioli. If you're not from St. Louis, you can't find a restaurant or bar in this city that does not have toasted ravioli. Any little corner bar with a deep fryer has them, right? Ours are fantastic, and we hold they were invented in this building. The story goes that Joe Garagiola, the baseball player from the 30s, 40s, 50s, somewhere in there, my memory's not great. His brother Mickey lived on the hill most of his life. Their nephew Fritz was cooking in the basement of this building when he used to be old Donnie's back in the 50s, drinking more cooking wine than he should have been using. He dropped the ravioli into the oil instead of the water. The owners got mad, made him serve them to the bar customers, thinking they wouldn't like them. They loved them. They came back the next night and asked for him again. Over the next 40, 50 years, it turned into the thing you can't not find in St. Louis. Once you get about 120 miles out of the city, they pretty much evaporate, but within this city, everybody's heard of them, right? Mickey in 1998 said he'd bet his house on it, so my opinion on the story's truthfulness doesn't matter.
In Italy, I wonder what they would think about this, right? If they think it's a good idea or if they think this is crazy. But, you know, it's a St. Louis thing. What constitutes a good toasted ravioli? What are we looking for?
To me, it's in the breading, so like on the actual breading and then the beef on the inside. To me, that's what's going to constitute a good ravioli.
Okay.
No matter where you go in St. Louis, like he was saying, you're going to be able to find toasted ravioli, and then within that, people have added their own little twist to it.
Yeah, I like that.
But yeah, I did a whole toasted ravioli series where I got to try, I think about 8 to 10 different places. It's one of our traditional dishes here in St. Louis.
Well, let's try it. Are you supposed to eat with your fingers, or should we put it on a fork and be nice? Or
If you're really...
Our moms are not watching, right?
No, if you're from St. Louis, you're eating with your fingers.
Okay.
You got to get the marinara. That's a huge part of it as well, because 90% of the time it's house-made. It's a moment of truth. What do you think?
I think whoever dropped this ravioli in the fryer is onto something.
Well, it's just like with the Gooey buttercake. It was made on accident.
Mm-hmm.
And here, this was made on accident.
You know what I try to do when I taste things like this? I'm thinking, well, so for my restaurant, how can I elevate it into something that fits my style of cooking? And really the concept of making a noodle and put a stuffing in it and then frying it, I mean, I see myself using, salmon inside, or, there's so many things you can do with the concept. I mean, the concept is really good.
I would say, like, after visiting a few of the staples today, do you see yourself going back home and making, I think you said salmon, a salmon toasted ravioli?
Well, I think I'm committed to that now, don't you think? T-Ravs checked off the list. We're on our way to try another St. Louis original. I also love, the hill where it's all Italian.
Yeah.
But that's what makes the city so interesting, that we're able to explore all those things in one city.
Yeah, so this is Southampton, also known as Soha. You have a lot of great restaurants here.
It seems like a very nice neighborhood here, huh?
Yeah, great.
So all of this here is
Soha.
Soha, okay. We've come here to Southampton to visit Russell's on Macklin.
Well, yeah, Russell's, it's your neighborhood spot.
Okay.
But the thing about it is people come from all different neighborhoods around St. Louis to try their food. For me, the thing I love about it is you can go there for breakfast, lunch, dinner, brunch. Go there by yourself. You can go there just for coffee, pastries, and not to mention my favorite gooey butter cake in St. Louis.
Let's go try it. Gooey butter cake. Back in episode 301, I visited Baker Josh Allen of Companion Bakery. Josh gave me my first taste of this stuff and a little history lesson on how it came to be. Kindly refer back to episode 301 if you'd like to know more. Walking into the restaurant, the pastry case draws us in. There is a lot to look at, but we're here for the gooey butter cake.
We have the chocolate chip gooey butter cake.
So there's more than one kind?
Oh yeah, the thing I love about here, it just varies by the day. So sometimes I'll come in and they'll have a turtle gooey butter cake. Sometimes it's a caramel apple gooey butter cake. It's just...
Okay, so it's not one specific cake. It's there's a lot of variations of it?
Yep.
Okay. Just like toasted ravioli, every place has its own version. And that's pretty cool, especially for the hardcore foodies that takes on the quest to try them all. Well, I guess we'll have to try one of each.
Yep.
Now you make sure it's extra gooey, right?
Since I'm going to take in quite a few calories, I always try to walk here. That's a secret, secret foodie.
So walk before the gooey cake and after the gooey cake.
It makes you feel a little bit better about the calories you're consuming.
After having followed Braden's social media posts, it's interesting to see him at work.
I come in, usually I'll record the food, and then when everyone sees it, I don't even have to add any caption or anything. People see the food and they want to go and try it for themselves.
So what makes the gooey butter cake special here as opposed to, I guess you can get it anywhere in St. Louis?
For me personally, why this is my favorite is that shortbread crust. I feel like a lot of people, for their first gooey butter experience dictates whether or not they're going to love it the rest of their lives.
Okay.
And so sometimes...
So do you love it?
Oh, I love it.
Okay.
Especially, like, from here, I can eat any gooey butter cake.
Farron Huster, the general manager here at Russell's, gives us some of the detail about the gooey butter.
We don't use the word cake when we put ours out. It's more, like I said, it's more of it's a shortbread crust. So it's more of a cookie consistency. There's a crunch to it. Most gooey butter, if you go to get gooey butter in St. Louis, most of it is really sweet. Ours, the shortbread kind of tones that sweetness out of it.
Okay.
It's rich, and there's definitely sugar in there, but it's different than any other gooey butter in St. Louis.
How many variations is there?
We do a lot.
So would you say that, you can kind of interpret it however you want, as long as you keep the basics?
I think so, absolutely.
Yeah, and then you can add your own flair.
Right, which is what we do here.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm not a big lemon person, but we got one for my wife's birthday, and then I was like, wow, this is delicious.
Yeah.
Can I try this one?
Yep, of course. I'll try one of yours.
Yeah, absolutely. The gooey butter cake is great. While I got Braden's attention, I want to learn more what he does on social media. So a food blogger, is this like a food critic?
No, so
it's only positive, or?
So here's the thing, like, if you get on your phone right now, you're gonna find a lot of negativity, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, there have been experiences that I've had at restaurants where the food wasn't, up to my liking. But like for me, I don't wanna bash a restaurant, And so if I have something negative to say, I don't say it at all. It could have been a bad day, staffing issues. Maybe they had to buy something from a different grocery store.
I think, I mean, it's unusual that you would know this because, you know, I'm a restaurateur too. We all have days where somebody didn't show up or things are going wrong in the kitchen, somebody leaves. I mean, there could be so many reasons why we have a bad day.
Right.
And you know, you can't judge a restaurant just for one shot, right? But the blogging all of a sudden has become a big deal of the St. Louis food scene. You know, I know there's a lot of bloggers, so you're kind of a guide to finding
New spots.
New spots.
For me, it was like during the pandemic, I was thinking about ways to help like local businesses. How would I do that? And so I'm like, let me start taking photos of food and let me add my little creativity in there. And so I went from just taking photos to making vlogs, going to places, you know, taking it home. Hey guys, I picked
Vlogs?
Yep, vlogs.
What is that?
It's kind of like a food review where
So does it mean video and blogs in one? Is that what it is? Okay.
So there are bloggers, in my opinion, bloggers are the ones that are typing and writing. For me, I'm a vlogger. Like, I'm a very visual person. I am the individual that wants to, you know, show people the experience. Like, hey, you come here to Russell's, this is what you're going to, you know, all the pastries you'll have. Here's the patio. And so to me, in this visual world that we're in, it's just able to connect with like an audience, but it's also those people's like first introduction to that restaurant.
You just got really hungry one day and came up with this idea? Or?
It's I would say like I always enjoyed going out to eat, but I wasn't a real foodie until the pandemic happened, because it was one of those cases to where you don't realize what you have until it's gone. I'm like, let's showcase the food of our city, because that's the culture. And let me show you, you know, maybe how the Gooey buttercake is made, because people, at the end of the day, we all have to eat, and so that like food brings us all together. And so if I can be that person that bridges the gap.
I've seen something on TV that sounds just like that.
Oh, really?
Food is bringing us together. Food is love.
Hey, but it's real.
But it's true. I mean, I can say it 100 times, but really the reality of is, I mean, it all starts with food, right?
Yep.
What's next on the list? Where are we going?
Braden has one more place to take me today, to try another St. Louis original.
I never really understood the power of social media until, and I was in San Francisco with my wife, and I literally had someone stop me and say, hey, are you BradenSTL? And I said, yes. And it was the most
Oh, wow.
At that time, I realized the power of social media. I never met this person. I'm 1,800 miles west of St. Louis. And then that's when I realized.
But you know, see, I only have 2,000 followers, but that because I'm not as good looking as you are.
Oh.
I think that has a lot to do with it.
Hey, you're good looking.
Nobody want old fat chefs, you know what I mean?
Joking aside, with more and more viewers following people like BradenSTL or Whitney in the City, social media has become a very important part of the restaurant business.
The power of social media is insane. You know, we used to think more on the macro level, right? You know, obviously there's the Dwayne Johnsons and the Kylie Jenners, but you know, it's really that micro influencer level that's able to like make the difference in their community. The next one. It's like vacationing in your own city.
You know, you saw that vlogger from Los Angeles that was out here.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, a person, it seemed like he wanted money or free food in order to put something in positive.
Yeah. And then he didn't get his way. And with entitlement, you know, he said nothing but negative things. And don't use your platform for that, you know? Yeah. It was really cool to see all the people, you know, all the creatives around St. Louis come together, go there for lunch, go there for dinner, and just like, look, like we don't play that here in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Like,
you have a lot of power. You really do have a lot of power. You have to show some responsibility for what you're putting out there, because it could be devastating for businesses. What's next on the list? Where are we going?
Emos.
Emos,
St.
okay.
Louis style pizza.
This one is polarizing even to someone here in the city. St. Louis style pizza, thin crust, Provel cheese. Doesn't sound like a big deal, right? But in my travels, I've seen the subject literally divide the room in more than one occasion. People either love it or hate it. I am certainly not throwing my hat into the ring on that debate, but I would like to get a slice, a square or two, to check it off my list.
Emos, it's right
in here?
Yep, they actually make everything right over there.
Really?
So we are headed to try it for ourselves at Emo's Pizza.
But what is a St. Louis style pizza?
Provel cheese.
That's what makes it St. Louis style?
Yep.
So what do you suggest we try?
So their specialty pizzas are good. For me personally, I like to always get the bacon and then I get bell peppers on my pizza.
Okay.
Love it. It's kind of like a little bit of a balance. You know, it's my vegetable for the day.
I like the way you're thinking.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's just try what you're recommending.
Well, like I think about the Chicago pizza or the deep dish pizzas, you know, and you pick it up. I think they use like forks and knives for those, you know, which is completely different than the way we eat. We treat our pizza, we just casually eat it, you know. And the thing I love about St. Louis style pizza is like you can eat a whole large and you don't feel bad about yourself, right? When it comes to like eating a small Chicago deep dish, yeah, that's good, but afterwards you feel so bloated, you know?
Yeah, and I think the Provel cheese is basically just a combination of several cheeses.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right?
While the pizza is being made, I get some social media pointers from Braden.
Your first impressions, what do you think?
I mean, it looks great, it smells great. You know, it's interesting, the crust is really thin. Mm-hmm. So that is part of the St. Louis style pizza, then it's really thin crust, right?
Thin crust.
As opposed to the Chicago style.
Right. Thin, Provel cheese. Now, one thing that's kind of fun is like, so my wife, she always eats the corner pieces, right? This is circular.
Yeah.
Right here, the triangles.
My wife eats the crust, you know, on a regular pizza, that roll crust on the outside. Mm-hmm. I'll eat everything because I like that. And that's why I'm the fat one, is because in the middle is where all the gooey filling is. Everybody has a strategy when it comes to eating a pizza.
Yep, that's real.
Well, let's try it. We still got to find out why it's cut in squares.
Yeah.
I love that thin crust.
Some of the quote-unquote haters from outside of St. Louis, they'll say, oh, it's just crackers with cheese. Because, you know, sometimes people will hype something up to you, and then you try it, and you're like, I knew it wasn't going to be that good. But when it comes to this, when they try it, they're like, oh, wait, this is good. So then they try to make jokes about it, but it's like, hey, we know you love our pizza, you know.
Yeah, but like you said earlier with the crust, I mean, you're not going to fill up just by the crust. Like normally that's why you stop eating pizza, is because it's too much bread. Yep. Where this is, you know, there's more filling on this pizza than there is crust.
Mm-hmm. Now, is this your first time having Emo's, right?
Yeah, never had it before. I mean, can you imagine, you know, I've been a chef for so many years, and there's so many things out there that I've never tried.
Yep. Well, even just here in St. Louis, like the people will ask me, like, or they'll ask, like, hey, have you been in this restaurant or that restaurant? There's so many restaurants here in our city, and it's like, when I go to places, I will ask, hey, what's your most popular dish? And then what's your personal favorite, you know? For me, like, I want to know what everyone else is eating around so I can have those conversations with other foodies in town. But also, like, I like to get to know the chefs or, you know, the waiters and waitresses, because I kind of want to know, like, what's your favorite? You're probably having this, you know, several times a week or several times a month. And so that's how I've been able to enhance my foodie experience here in town.
What can I say? I'm a fan. Today has been great, sampling 3 of the big St. Louis originals, and getting to know Braden a little better was fun. I'm aware that I've only scratched the surface of food that's got its start in the Lou. I want to end the day with a stop at a St. Louis mecca, both to check it off my list and to satisfy my sweet tooth.
Iconic foods of St. Louis, there has to be a Ted Drew's in there. So I've never been to Ted Drew's before, so I thought it'd be fun to kind of check that out. I don't know, is it ice cream or is it frozen custard? I know they call that, but I can't wait to taste and feel the texture and see what I think. They haven't even been open for 10 minutes and there's a line down the street. Look at that right there. They're all sitting there with their ice cream. I'm not even sure what to order yet. I just heard somebody said something about concrete. I don't know if that's a good term when it comes to frozen custard, but definitely intrigued by the name.
While custard wasn't invented here, Ted Drew's have been an attraction in the city for more than 80 years.
What are you having on yours?
I just have plain. I'm a purist.
Okay. Well, it sounds like I should be a purist on the first try, right?
Absolutely.
But it's interesting they call it concrete because that's not something you would think of something pleasurable to eat, right?
Well, it'll weight you down a little bit.
It will?
It's very weighty.
What should I get?
Oh man, Cardinal Sin.
Cardinal Sin, what's
Cardinal
that?
Sin. Sour cherries, hot fudge, and vanilla.
Okay. I'll have a Cardinal Sin. Huh? Well, I mean, somebody told me to get a Cardinal Sin. Huh? Well, now I'm confused. See, that's my first time. You know? I know. The rest is for you. That's the tip.
Oh, we don't take tips here, but I appreciate it, sir.
We don't?
Yeah, they don't allow us to.
Really?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay,
though.
where's your address? I'll send you the money.
The custard is amazing, of course, but what's more interesting to me is all of the loyalty that people of St. Louis shows to this place.
Which ones are you getting? I'm having the Cardinal Sin. I've never been here before. It's really good. Are you from St. Louis? Okay, so this is part of the St. Louis culture. It's an iconic place, right?
But the throngs of people that make their pilgrimage to Ted Drew's aren't the only ones who get to enjoy it.
This is not special dog ice cream.
It is not. No, it's a regular vanilla custard.
Okay, but have you had he tried any other flavors?
No other
No.
flavors, no. They have a special pup cup for dogs.
Okay.
And, we used to live around the corner. We had a chocolate lab, and we bring her over here, for her birthday every year for a pup cup, and continuing the tradition with this one.
So it's her birthday today?
His, yeah.
Oh, his, okay. Oh, wow. He's liking it.
He is.
What comes to mind, iconic foods from St. Louis for you?
Well, the traditional things like, toasted ravioli and, while I've never really subscribed to it, Emo's Pizza is a big thing here.
I happen to love it.
Well, I mean, it's known for the Provel cheese. I just had it for the first time today, and I actually think it's really good.
I like it.
I like that thin crust. If you had to wrap up the food scene in a few words, if somebody from out of town asked you, what would that be?
Diverse, delicious,
Gooey.
Yeah, just love. Not even saying that because I'm talking to you. Food is love, but there's just love. The food is made with love, and these families are known throughout town. Whether it's within the community, it's at church. People talk about the food. They know that family, and there's just this family-like atmosphere in every single restaurant.
I mean, the food is such a big part of St. Louis. You can tell. I mean, you can tell it's ingrained in everybody.
Mm-hmm. Word-wise, again, I'd say delicious, diverse, family, and love.
Well, that's pretty much sums it up right there.
It's an interesting thing to think about. Food becoming so intrinsic to the identity of a place that it transcends boundaries to become something everyone can be proud of, something that brings people together, to become an icon for the city's food scene. I've never really gotten on the toasted ravioli train myself, but with my own love for the city in mind, and as an ode to the creation that is so uniquely St. Louis, I'm giving it a try.
Toasted ravioli is unique to St. Louis. If you're a chef in St. Louis, you can really take ownership of what you wanted to represent. I think that's what's so interesting. You visit St. Louis and the raviolis are different. Every single restaurant put their own spin on it. Instead of using a pasta dough, I'm going to be using a wonton wrapper.
It would be easy to write off toasted ravioli as bar food and novelty, but if you think about it, the toasted ravioli is an important part of the St. Louis food scene. Restaurants around the city proudly make their own version of the toasted ravioli.
Wine.
It's a badge of pride here. That's because in St. Louis, the T-Rav is something everyone can own. It's common ground, a given right to all St. Louisans.
Put your own
twist or stamp on the raviolis. That's what makes them uniquely St. Louis. That's burning love right there. I kind of decided I wanted to use ingredients to get everybody involved in this. We used the wonton wrappers instead of the pasta, and salmon. We got a little umami, saffron. No matter what part of town you're from or where you went to high school, the toaster ravioli is a part of the collective identity of the city. An identity that binds us by the common connection of foods that are purely St. Louis. Foods we can all love. Food is love.